It's the battle of the best phones of the year because, as most of you know, I just hate Apple and I hate iPhones. They're so restrictive. So I'm definitely pumped to keep talking about what's going to be the king of the 2020 smartphones. And to me, it's a no-brainer that it's going to be a smackdown, close fight between the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Galaxy S11. So talking about what you should expect in the next-gen phones, I gotta bundle them into one video because I know you guys don't care. Let's begin. So when it comes to the OnePlus 8, it's 9, I had to bring it up. When it comes to the OnePlus 8 Pro, there's actually been a ton of leaks for it and design choices that we're pretty much already confident about, despite the fact that it's probably not even launching until May or April of next year. So we got a few months, but OnePlus has kind of been on a roller coaster of design trends and everything, because for one, when notches were starting to become a mainstream thing, OnePlus was the one company that's like, we're gonna have the slick notch. You can make a notch really clean and minimal with the 6T. And then the following year they were like, notches? Those are so stupid. Camera holes? Please, how about no camera hole, no notch? We can just go forward with a pop-up camera. It was so strong we engineered it to lift up cinder blocks off the ground. That's how great the pop-up camera is. No notch, no camera hole. We're the best, highest screen to body ratio ever. But now with the OnePlus 8 Pro, it looks like they're going with a camera hole in the corner. So it's like, a little notch isn't that bad, you know. Some intrusion's okay, just as long as it's out of the way. And, you know, pop-up cameras are kind of gimmicky, so water resistance, you know, that's important too, right? And on social media, there's definitely been some hints alluding towards the next generation OnePlus supporting a 120 Hz AMOLED display to rival that of the Asus ROG Phone 2, or, if you don't care about OLED screens, the Razer phone from years ago that had a 120 Hz display. So you're just now catching up with Razer, despite the fact that their sales aren't doing too well. While this is probably a good flex move that they can show off, hey, 120 Hz, yeah, can't do that, can ya? I gotta be honest with you, the difference between 90 and 120, very small. Unless you're an epic gamer, when you're just scrolling through Twitter, the high refresh rate of 90 versus 120, oof, it takes a very well-trained eye. I'm not saying I can't tell the difference. I am an epic gamer, so I know exactly the difference. In fact, I'm one of those guys that knows when a YouTube video is 50 frames a second, when it's 30, when it's 24. Yeah, I see you slow-mo guys. Why you gotta be different and all that crap? But yeah, just for the flex alone, having a 120 Hz display to kind of one-up what OnePlus did this year is probably a good idea, but kind of weird choice with the camera hole, because it feels like a step backwards in a lot of ways from last year with that screen-to-body ratio that the 7 Pro had. It's like, oh yeah, that came out in 2019, but then this decade, now you got the camera hole again. But I think that might help them because they're likely looking at what most people were criticizing them for this year. And I could be wrong about this. These leaks aren't as for certain, but hopefully with the OnePlus 8 Pro, they can do exactly what I requested last time I reviewed their phone, which is just do an IP rating. It's not that expensive. It's definitely a lot cheaper than RDJ. And also just support wireless charging. I know it's not the fastest charging method out there, but it's about options. The coil costs like $10 to add in the phone. And the whole reason we have wireless charging is not because it's faster, it's because it's more convenient. I like being able to drop my phone on a charger with one hand and I don't have to fuss around with a cable. I know there's a cable going through the wireless charger, but you don't have to touch it. That's why we call it wireless charging, because you don't have to interact with a cable in the process of charging the phone. You just drop it down. Yes, it charges slower, but it's easy. I just pick it up when I'm ready to go. I don't have to fumble around with a cord. I'm not saying you can't ship your ultra warp light speed fast charger, whatever you want to call it, but just provide the option out there for those who do care about the convenience of Qi charging. It's on literally every single iPhone Apple sells now, and it's on most of your competitors, so please just consider a Qi coil in the back. If they did that, I personally think OnePlus could up their way up to the top, and in my opinion, become the best overall smartphone of 2020, obviously because iPhones are all trash. I'm gonna throw all these boxes down and replace them with the beautifully unique Galaxy boxes. But if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know that I overall, in the Android department, preferred the Galaxy S10 Plus. I thought that was a better overall package than the OnePlus 7 Pro, but I do admit it was a close call. They were very, very neck and neck. So Samsung, in my opinion, has the advantage here, but when it comes to the leaks we're seeing for the Galaxy S11, what are you doing? I first looked at these and went, dang, those are some big phones. They're saying the Galaxy S11e is gonna have a 6.4-inch display? So you're saying the smallest of the lineup is gonna be about as big as the biggest of the iPhone lineup? Are we talking phablets now, or is this getting closer to tart phones? Whatever you want to call the thing that's like, it's part tablet, part smartphone. But yeah, the leak for the Galaxy S11 Plus says a 6.9-inch display. Ooh, nearly 7 inches in the pocket? That's a big screen. I mean, I like big screens, but that's getting up high to the point of might not be comfortable to hold. And if you're looking at these things thinking they look really tall, they look like ice cream sandwiches, that's because they are. If you compare them to the Galaxy S10 lineup, these things are form factor differences with very thin side bezels, of course. Samsung always has great hardware, very impressive display technology. Looks like they're borrowing from the Note 10 line and moving the camera hole to be more towards the middle. But dang, these screens are enormous. And I saw one person's theory that made a lot more sense to me. They said that there won't be a Galaxy S11e. For one, too many letters, too many numbers, way too confusing. Shut up, stop it. But for two, they're saying that there's no way the S11 Plus is going to be a 6.9-inch display, and that could possibly be reserved for the 5G model. So I don't have people confirming this with me, but that's personally my best theory, is that the 6.4-inch model is the S11, the 6.7-inch model is the S11 Plus, which is still a very big screen, but about as big as the next-gen iPhones are rumored to be. And then that massive 6.9-inch display is going to be reserved for the S11 5G, because Samsung still doesn't want to implement 5G into the entire lineup yet. That would be too insanely expensive and cancerous. By the way, 5G doesn't cause cancer. Stop. So in my opinion, I'm kind of torn on this. I'm sure the S11 is going to have impressive camera features. I saw a report that said they're going to adopt this recently announced 108 megapixel sensor, which is just an insane resolution. It's pretty much confirmed that's coming, but it seems like everyone in 2019 is forgetting that megapixels don't mean everything. You can have a ton of megapixels in a camera without the camera being good. There were Microsoft phones way back when that had 40 megapixel sensors. It didn't make the phone the best camera in the world, but hey, camera features, I guess. And these aspect ratios, as cool as it is that you get to advertise you have this giant screen in this form factor and this price point, I think they're nearing the more high end to the point that it might be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe if they can play it right with reachability and one-handed mode and that kind of thing, it might be reasonable, but in my opinion, these phones are getting a little too big, even for the non-7-inch one. Tart phones does not need to be a new category, okay? If OnePlus can keep the footprint in the same form factor that the 7 Pro was, I think that screen is massive, gargantuan, however freaking way you want to describe it. It was a plenty big screen, and I have big hands, and I feel like a lot of Android phones are completely abandoning people who have smaller phones and want to have a more comfortable in the hand feeling device. And Samsung with the S11 lineup, if these leaks end up being accurate, which it's Samsung, most of the time they are, there's not a lot of fake Samsung leaks out there, that means these could be very much not friendly to people who want more compact form factors. Don't abandon that market. And also, I wish they would make an S11e. I don't want curved edges on each one. I like that the S10e had the flat edges, and can you keep doing that, please? Because we don't like setting off the screen all the time and stuff like that. But the other big news is that the S11 could potentially be rocking a 90 to 120 hertz display. Probably the first Android smartphone of next year that's going to be rocking the 865, almost as fast as the Apple A4 chip. No, just kidding, but I'm sure the 865 probably won't be as fast as the A13. Still an upgrade though, and also packing an enormous 5,000 milliamp hour battery. But keep in mind, if it does sport a 120 hertz display, that battery may not be as great as it sounds, because we know with Android phones and high refresh rate displays, they tend to drain the battery quite a bit. Though the nice thing is, I'm sure you'll have the option to turn off smooth display, and if you knock it down to 60 hertz, then your battery life should be pretty amazing. So in 2019, I chose the S10 Plus as the better overall smartphone from the 7 Pro, but in 2020, I think that may flip. I think that the S11 might be going a little bit too tall, a little bit overboard, and I think if OnePlus, with their awesome software and their awesome speed optimization performance they're good at with their Android skins, if they're able to get a certified IP rating and wireless charging in that package, I may choose that phone as the better Android of 2020. So what do you guys think is going to be the better seller? Feel free to hit me up on Twitter and join my Discord, and we can talk all about how stupid iPhones are and how much I hate them. And if you're new here, everything I say is a lie. This is your Apple Sheep here. I'll see you in the next one.